and Tony and Ronnie and Patman and Patrick and Ed. I can't put a price on that. Build a team. Teaching, impart. See, another nice thing about this business, and this is the reason why many companies are gravitating towards this industry, because it's such an efficient way to work. See, in the corporate world, if I were the president, and let's say Kuna were the vice president, would I tell Kuna all my secrets? Why not? They take me away. And they promote Kuna, right? Hire him for half of what they're paying me. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, I may have taught you everything you know, but I haven't taught you everything I know. You see what I'm saying? But in this business, everything you know, if you can write everything down, everything you know, you want to pass down to your leaders. Why? Because their success is your success. Here there are no promotions, there are no hirings, there are nothing. It's your leadership base. Teach, impart. The more you know, the more you can teach. Now, before you start to teach, however, you have to do one exercise. Make sure that your leaders have a vision. Have you ever tried to teach somebody who doesn't want to learn? Have you ever tried to teach a dog how to sit when he doesn't want to learn how? Because there are some dogs that are more, how do you call this, receptive than others. But let's stop using dogs as an example. Okay? But you know what I'm trying to say. Have you ever tried to teach tennis to somebody who has no vision to become a tennis player? If they have no vision for this business, they'll have no direction. They won't know what they're doing. They will not be motivated. You're going to have to call them up every day. Come on, man, come on. They will not be willing to overcome obstacles. They will have no work ethic. How many guys have a vision for this business? Do you guys need anybody to motivate you? Aren't you going out trying to get as much learning as you can? Before you teach, make sure you sit down with them and impart a vision in their hearts for what they can achieve in this business, or else nothing happens. It's like banging your head against the wall. If they have none of the above, they're going to be lazy. They're just going to be lazy. For me, there's no such thing as a lazy person. Only a person with no vision. Okay, we were talking about, have you ever wondered why there's some people in your organization that don't move? Okay, there's some people, they come in, they're really excited, and then after 2, 3, 4 days, you know, that it's gone. Okay, now the reason for this is because they have no vision for the business. Okay, there's no such thing as a person who's lazy, as far as I'm concerned. It's just a person with no vision. I can give a personal testimony to that, because, you know, I always thought I was a lazy person. Okay, but it turns out that what society or my schools, some of my relatives, and to a certain extent what my parents had expected of me was not where I wanted to go in life. Okay, later on in my life I found out that, hey, I have a vision for this. It's just that the visions that were set for me were not my own visions. Okay, and finally I broke free from that mold that, hey, I wasn't lazy, I just didn't have a vision. For 26 years of my life, I just kind of went, you know, floating wherever the wind blew. But when I finally sat down and decided, okay, that this is where I want to excel, this is what I want to do, then, like I explained last night, my life started moving in a predominantly forward direction. Okay, so if a person who's involved with this business doesn't have a vision, will eventually just peter out. Okay, they have no direction, they have no work ethic for the business. They're not going to move unless you're there motivating them. Okay? Because for the life of me, I can't figure out why somebody can't see this business and work with it. Okay? Because if you do this business properly, man, the financial benefits are unbelievable. Okay? Before you start the teaching process, the reason we're talking about this is, remember, we're supposed to teach the people as you caddy them. Okay? It's really, really difficult to try and teach somebody who doesn't want to learn. Okay? It's also like banging your head against the wall. So before you start the teaching process, sit down with your potential leaders and make sure, remember, we discussed earlier that you have to sit down and identify who you're going to caddy, who you're going to take care of. Okay, sit down with them, whether individually, or as a group. Sit down with them and make sure you've gone through the process you have gone through that gave you your vision. Okay, sit down with them. Make sure that they have identified their compelling reasons and their burning desires for doing this business. Okay, because remember, you want people that are like you. Go-getters, prime movers, people who will do everything they can to make sure that this business will work. Okay, and the way to do that is impart a vision in their heart. Not your vision, but their vision. Okay? Now the reason I went through my compelling reasons and burning desires last night was basically to show, because you heard everything that I said. How many have basically the same compelling reasons? Right? How many have the same visions? In other words, what I'm trying to say is we're all the same. Whether you're Malaysian, Canadian, Russian, American, Filipino, we're all the same. We all want to, work so that our family benefits. We're all gonna cry at our daughter's weddings. You know what I'm saying? We're all the same. We have the same visions. We have the same wants. We have the same desires for our family. Just by you sitting down and discussing your vision with somebody else will help revive and bring to the surface his own visions. As I was discussing my compelling reasons and burning desires with you guys last night, were you not, hey, me also, didn't it help you, make your own at least mental list of what your visions are? Many, many times this impartation of vision comes from just the fact that when you go make a presentation to someone and you're driving and you're saying, hey, in this business, if I work this hard for 2 years, in 2 years I can be financially free. Just by you describing your vision gets him thinking about his own vision. You see what I'm saying? You can use your vision to inspire them to derive their vision. So sit down with them. Make sure that they have also written down their compelling reasons and burning desires. If you take the time to do this, then you don't have to motivate them. If you take the time to sit down and make sure they have their own vision for the business, you don't have to keep motivating them anymore. That's why when I first started this business, my phone was ringing off the hook. Because we used to spend so much time. Patrick, how many nights did we spend going into early morning, 2, 3, 4 o'clock with TG, with Rico, with Donna, sitting down discussing what we wanted to do with this business, and sitting down and doing that with their leaders. That's why the next day and the weeks, the phone would be ringing off the hook because I don't have to motivate them anymore. They're all internally motivated. Think about the people in your organization who are deadbeats, aren't doing anything. And I guarantee you that these guys have no vision for the business. They probably came in because they were either deceived or lured to come in, which we will take up tomorrow, or they were promised that they won't have to do anything and you or your leader will build a large organization for them. In other words, they have no vision for the business. They're not willing to pay the price. Take the time. Nurture them into that vision. Encourage them into that vision. When they have a vision, they'll want to learn on their own, even without you there. You all know Eric Clapton, right? Especially these two guys over here. They were doing an Eric Clapton medley last night. But this guy, he's one of the greatest guitarists, greatest rock guitarists, of the modern times. But he doesn't know how to read notes. He doesn't know how to read a single note. But man, he can play like nobody else. He can play like Eric Clapton.